So, we've got two pieces of news to cover in this video. The Montreal Canadiens have signed themselves what is technically, not definitively, but technically, the replacement for Sean Monahan, and we also have ourselves some movement between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Calgary Flames. So, let's start out with the news that was given out earlier in the day. And when I say earlier in the day, my goodness, this was at like 5:30 a.m. in the morning, my time. Literally over here, I was dead asleep at this time. So I did not see the fact that the Montreal Canadiens signed forward Brandon Gignac to a 2-year contract. The 26-year-old forward has registered 42 points in 43 games with Laval this season. Now, Gignac is an interesting name because this is mostly the first time, I think, that he's getting himself an NHL opportunity. He signed on with the Canadiens after signing what was a 2-year AHL deal and playing in Laval over there. He has been mostly an AHL, ECHL guy his entire career, aside from the one New Jersey Devils game he played in 2018-19. But his seasons in Laval have mostly been pretty alright. And because the Montreal Canadiens got rid of Sean Monahan the other day, you needed to see some extra bodies come through, you needed an extra guy on the roster, and Gignac is going to do that. 42 points in 43 games played, as the article said, in Laval. He's been pretty alright as a 26-year-old, 5'11", 185-pound left-handed center left wing, signed to the Canadiens until the end of 25-26. Now, let's go back over onto the article before we read some more of the updates about Gignac, just so Canadiens fans can get a little bit of a dose of who it is they're getting onto their team. Montreal Canadiens GM Kent Hughes announced on Sunday the team has agreed to terms to a 2-year, 2-way contract 2023-2024 to 2024-2025 with forward Brandon Gignac. Okay, so the NHL contract he has is up until 24-25. That's interesting. It's apparent that his contract in the AHL might be going on until 25-26, which may be why it's listed like this on Elite Prospects. But a native of, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be so bad at this, Repentigny? Okay. Repentigny, Quebec. Gignac played 43 games with the Laval Rocket this season, registering 42 points. The 26-year-old forward, who leads the Rockets in goals, assists, and points, also served 36 penalty minutes so far in 23-24. Gignac was tied for 5th in AHL scoring when he signed this contract. Since making his pro debut in 16-17, Gignac has tallied 154 points in 267 career AHL games with Albany, Binghamton, and Laval. He joined the Canadiens organization on July 29, 2021, after agreeing to terms on a contract with the Rocket. Gignac, who was selected in the 3rd round 80th overall by the Devils in 2016, played 1 game with New Jersey in 2018-19. He did not register a point. Now, because he has signed himself an NHL deal, he is now officially back on an NHL roster for 2 seasons. You had yourselves the reports here from Eric Engels that yes, he is now on the team. He is going to be practicing with the Montreal Canadiens today. So that is, in and of itself, an addition to the roster that makes sense. The Canadiens needed an extra body, so leave it to the Laval Rocket to supply one of these extra players to make everything balanced. Now, on to our second piece of news of the day. We had ourselves movement between the Golden Knights and the Calgary Flames because Calgary has claimed defenseman Brayden Pachal off of waivers from Vegas. Take a look at the press release over here. The Flames announced today they have acquired defenseman Brayden Pachal off waivers from the Vegas Golden Knights. He's a product of Estevan, Saskatchewan, and he spent the last 5 seasons with the Golden Knights and their AHL affiliations, the Chicago Wolves, followed by the Henderson Silver Knights. The 24-year-old has skated in 17 games with Vegas this season, collecting an assist, and has played in 29 career NHL games. Brayden is a big, strong, right-shot defensive defenseman who increases our team's physicality and will be an asset to our PK, Flames GM Craig Conroy said. At 24 years old, he has been the captain of his AHL team and is a character player joining us from a winning program. He's from Saskatchewan, born August 23, 1999, 6'2", 202, a right-handed defenseman, signed as an undrafted free agent who had been brought onto Vegas in 2019, and he's got a 2-year contract signed in June 2023 with an AAV of $775,000. Now, The very interesting part about this signing here, Brayden Pachal going over to Calgary, is the fact that they mentioned that he is a right shot defensive defenseman, he'll be physical, and he'll be a part of the PK. The reason the Flames are going out there and saying, yeah, we kind of need this dude, is pretty obvious, is it not? This is going to be the replacement in spirit for Chris Tanev. Not going to say that Brayden Pachal is going to be like the most important or most relied upon guy in the world, but as we had seen with the Sean Monahan trade, because the Canadiens lost out on a forward, they needed to sign a guy to be brought back on to replace that roster spot. That's what Brandon Gignac is going to do, and that's what Brayden Pachal is going to do for the Calgary Flames once they trade away Chris Tanev. And when it comes to this player, I mean, Pachal's not a bad guy. That's definitely not the case here. He was put on waivers because the Vegas Golden Knights didn't have any room, and the Calgary Flames, knowing that they're going to be losing out on another defenseman soon, decided, hey, he's 24 years old, he's a right-handed guy, he can block shots, he's defensively minded, let's take a chance on him and see what he can do, because he has had a goal in the 17 games played that he played with Vegas this season, and there just really wasn't much space for him on the roster. He was a captain in the AHL for 2 seasons already, so this is a leadership player who has worked his way up from WHL undrafted status into the NHL literally just within the span of 2 years. So there's a lot to like here out of the profile that Brayden Pachal brings. And the interesting thing is, if you go over to this article on ProHockeyRumors.com that describes everything that's going on, you'll recognize this actually isn't the first time that Pachal has been a part of the Flames. Take a look at this. As Flames Nation Ryan Pike points out, Pachal attended Flames development and prospect camp in the summer of 2018. So before he had actually signed on with the Vegas Golden Knights, he was a part of the Calgary Flames prospect camp as an invitee. So that's kind of cool to see everything go around full circle. The Flames clearly valued this guy 6 years ago, and they still value him today. If you go back over to this article, though, it does a really good job of explaining why Pachal was placed onto waivers in the first place. A minor league mainstay over the past few seasons in the AHL's Henderson Silver Knights system, Pachal cracked the Golden Knights opening night roster in October, with season-opening injuries keeping Alec Martinez and Zach Whitecloud out of the lineup. As injuries continued to affect the Vegas blue line, Pachal slipped down the depth chart behind 23-year-old Caden Korczak, who's recently found a home in the top 4, alongside Brayden McNabb in the absence of Shea Theodore. After VGK claimed 2019 first-round pick Tobias Bjornfot off waivers from the Kings in early January, there was even less of a role for Pachal on the NHL roster. As such, he was a healthy scratch in 11 straight games before the All-Star break, last skating in a January 4 game against the Florida Panthers. Now, because Calgary is likely parting ways with pending UFA blue liner Chris Tanev and potentially Noah Hanifin ahead of the March 8th trade deadline, leaving them with a lack of NHL-caliber defenders to take them through the stretch run, claiming Pachal off waivers is likely made with that foresight in mind. He'll compete with depth defensemen such as Dennis Gilbert and Jordan Osterley for bottom 4 ice time, and should allow the Flames to keep younger prospects like Jan Kuznetsov and Ilya Solovyov developing in the minors. So, this is a pretty good, kind of strategy, good system going on over here. The Calgary Flames are covering their behinds, saying, hey, we know we're probably going to trade Chris Tanev, so let's get ourselves this defenseman who is on the move because he's on waivers. Instead of sending him down to Henderson Silver Knights, we'll just get him playing with the Calgary Flames. He'll be a part of our organization. We need the bodies. It's okay. This comes a few hours after the Montreal Canadiens signed themselves a center to replace Sean Monahan. So a lot of replacements going on around the NHL at the moment. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these two moves. The Habs made a signing. The Flames made a waiver claim. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.